Evening, everybody. Welcome to our midweek edition of our podcast. This is our midweek show. As I said, I'm one of your hosts, Ron Pierce, better known as RP.
And I'm your other host, Big Sean.
What's going on, Sean?
Nothing much, man. Same old, same old. Just a little tired today, but I'm ready to go ahead
That's
and
all
get
right.
this show on the road and push through.
That's all right. I'm wrong with being a little tired. I'm a little bit tired too, but I've been kind of busy here over the last couple of days with a little bit of time off from the show. It feels like we've been off for about 2-3
Yeah, it
months,
does. It
but
does.
we missed the Sunday show. We didn't record on Sunday. Uh, but I got leaves in the yard that I had to get to, and plants that I had over, vegetable plants that I had to take care of to get ready for the winter and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to take advantage of the nice weather.
Right.
It's been super nice. So yeah, I'm a little bit fatigued too.
Yeah,
But
my
that's
day
fine.
started off crazy. On my way to work today, I got to 131st and Union. They're doing a bunch of construction over there, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm getting to the light on Union, and one of the construction workers comes out, puts her hands out, slow up. I guess they're moving some, trucks around or whatever, right? So then she just starts freaking out. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on. I gotta get out of here. So I asked her, like, what's going on? And she was like, cops got their guns drawn and somebody just shot at them. And
At
then
the
I look
cop
yes.
or
So
at
I
the
look at the
construction work.
distance. Right. So I look in the distance and I see like around 133rd, cops got their guns out, and I hear a pop, and that's the last thing I heard. I didn't waste no time. I turned 131st, as raggedy as it is,
And,
and I pivot off. Like I didn't even wait to see what happened or who was in the way.
uh,
And as I was going up 131st, it was two cops. Two cop cars coming the other way, had to be doing about 90, 95. And they didn't even bother to turn their lights on, their sirens on. They just went. But I didn't see anything on the news today about what happened. So I'm assuming nobody, got shot or anything like that, man. But
yeah, that
that's
would be the guess that nobody got killed or anything like that or injured, which is a good thing.
right.
But those are the things that happen in the city of Cleveland.
Especially recently, man. Like it's
Cleveland is can be a little wild when it want to, man. Especially
yeah,
depending on where you at. It can be a little wild.
it's a lot of silly stuff going on too. Like
Unnecessary stuff.
I've even noticed, like, I don't know if everybody is just on edge from everything that was going on politically with the virus or what,
Could be.
but I even noticed people driving crazy. I still Uber a little bit here and there, and I'm seeing people just blatantly run red lights. I'm seeing people making all the way in the right lane, light turns green, they're crossing like 3 lanes to make a left.
Like, man, what is you
I'm
doing?
seeing just all types of crazy, you know, stuff going on out here. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you got some of that off your chest because that's what we do this show for. We do this show to kind of serve as some level of a distraction, at least from the everyday stuff when we get onto some sports stuff. But, even in our sports stuff, we end up a little bit irritated, a little bit
Right.
frustrated, and, but that's all right because it's sports. You know what I mean? It's all sports. So
Yeah.
let's, and before we get totally started, I got to say to all my veterans, whoever served, wherever you served, whatever you did, man, we appreciate you guys. Happy Veterans Day, et cetera, et cetera.
Most definitely, and happy Veterans Day to you.
Thank you, sir.
You guys
Appreciate
don't
it.
know, RP did serve in the Air Force. How long were you in the
I
Air
did
Force?
4 years, 4 years in
Okay.
active duty Air Force, and then I did another 5 years in the reserves.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm
So
rocking
to
my-
everyone that served, I have several family members that served. So it's not easy what you guys do.
No.
So we definitely appreciate everything. So happy Veterans Day to everybody, and hopefully you guys got out there and enjoyed some of the free meals today. that
I did
various
not.
places were
Not me.
offering?
You
No?
know what? I never have. I've never gone
Okay.
and 'cause, I mean, I don't really eat out a lot like that. Like I'm not a big Applebee's person. I'm not a big
And
Denny's
you sh-
person.
and
So
you shouldn't be. Nobody should, really. Like I heard
right.
Applebee's are closing down several locations. That didn't disappoint me at all. They can go ahead and shut them all
Listen,
down for all I care.
not even look, not even a little bit. Not
Right.
upset at all. I don't go to Applebee's at all. But again, thanks for anybody who wished me a happy Veterans Day. Thank you. I appreciate the love. And let's move on to our first topic, which
All right.
on Wednesdays is generally our Cleveland Browns. Last week, of course, our 5-3 Browns were on the bye. I think the bye came at a great time. We had that discussion
Yes, it
last
did.
week. I think
Perfect
it came
timing
at a
for the bye.
perfect freaking timing for everybody on the team. I think only
Especially
person,
since we had our first COVID scare.
yeah.
So looks like everybody tested negative player wise. They didn't say which
I
staff.
think it was a staff member or something
Yeah.
that actually had the symptoms.
Right.
It came in close contact with some of the guys on the team. One of the bigger names, of course, was Baker. So he was on, on the COVID list. They kind of had to quarantine him for a little bit, make sure his test came back negative, and he got activated today. So he's back up and running. But again, I think that the bye came at a perfect time for everything. Like we had some expectations coming out of the bye as we were getting into the bye. One of those things, of course, was if Nick Chubb was going to be back immediately after the bye, or shortly after. We still haven't, we don't know yet. We'll find out more Friday on that. But he is at least activated to practice, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think Stefanski said that he's ready to go.
He
He said
did,
that
but
on
he
his
didn't make
conference
anything
call.
official either. He
Okay.
didn't say anything official.
Well, I already slotted him in my fantasy league to go ahead and go.
I
So
mean,
know
I would have too.
he's ready.
I would have too. Shoot.
Even though I'm 2-7. I think in my fantasy league, thanks to Corey Davis not scoring any points last Sunday, but that's another story. I lost by 1.5 points. Thank you very much, Corey Davis.
Not one stinking point, homie.
All he needed was one catch.
One stinking point, my dude.
Like one reception, and I would have won. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
That's the stresses of fantasy football, man. That's not supposed to be as stressful as it is.
You won't. But so with the way the team is set up right now, coming out of the bye, we had a pretty disappointing loss to the Raiders, and not just a disappointing loss, but a disappointing outing from the Browns. They kind of looked listless at points in the game. Wasn't 100% sure if that was the play call, and wasn't 100% sure if that was the execution of the play calling. Wasn't 100% sure if it was because of where we were in the game, even. Situation.
It could have been the weather too. Looks like we didn't want to be out there.
And that's what I'm saying.
Not saying we, but you know what I mean. Like it looks like the Browns didn't want to be.
And that's what it looks
like. It really bothered them. Well, at least some of them.
And I think it did. I saw a clip of Hunt on the sideline. I guess he was mic'd up, and the whole game he like, man, it's crazy. The dude from Willoughby, man. You seen this kind of weather being from the Cleveland area.
And you know
actually going out east, he probably seen a little bit worse, and he's played in it before. So, and Kansas City gets pretty nasty weather
cold
too.
Right. You know what? One of the radio hosts made a good point, and this kind of has been on my mind probably the last 10 years, especially like in this modern era of football, where people always assume, okay, this team plays in Cleveland, Vegas, coming from the desert, we should automatically have the advantage. And he made a point saying that now, where you have so much player movement, especially with a young team, like if you look at the Browns the way that we're constructed, we have a lot of players from the South that were born and raised in the South, haven't been here that long, and yeah, so we're a cold weather team, but they haven't been groomed for that yet. So they're still getting acclimated to the weather as well. And just because a team coming from Vegas, those guys, I'm not sure what the makeup of their team is as far as where they're from geographically as individuals. But I think nowadays it's a little different how it was back in the day. You remember back in the day when the Dolphins went to Buffalo, that was an automatic loss. Or even I remember if you went down to play in Miami late in the season with the Heat, they would always say the Heat will affect
like you get so tired because of the
right. They'll get tired of going out to Denver with the
altitude. But that don't change. That's still
right.
the same.
Right.
That's an effect that will affect you anyway. But yeah,
right. But I think nowadays that whole cold, look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre was born and raised in Mississippi, and he was one of the best cold weather quarterbacks.
Look at Aaron Rodgers
in history. So I think it's just a matter of players like mentally, and maybe as this team sticks together as a unit, get more acclimated to that type of weather, maybe they will build an advantage.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is from Southern California.
California boy. Tom Brady, California.
Tom Brady, California boy. So it's not necessarily the weather. Like, listen, I'm born and raised in Cleveland. I used to live in Alaska. Guess what? I hate the damn cold. I can't stand it. So it's about your makeup though. Like, what type of player are you? Now, I don't necessarily think that what happened on Sunday, I think the weather affected everything. It didn't just affect
the
Browns players. It affected the Raiders players in certain areas and certain aspects too. So it's not always how it affects the one team, because you're right, it does. That ball's slippery on both sides, or that wind is blowing, no matter who is on offense or who was on defense. That stuff isn't gonna change. You though, the individual, the team, you have to prepare yourself, and that's a mental thing. You have to be mentally tough enough to get into those games and to perform. Because hell, we have an open air stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. There's two things that people know about Cleveland if they've never been here before. They've heard LeBron used to play here, and the weather's awful. Those are the two things that, especially in this day and age where there's not a lot of talk about Cleveland. Oh, we're on the first 48 often. Those are like the only things that people just know off the top of their heads. And to be honest, I've gotten so many passes because I'm from Cleveland. So people are almost automatically, in all my travels and my life, people are like, yeah, okay, I ain't messing with that cat because he's from Cleveland. Like, we get this, I don't know what I'm going to get out of this guy. Hands off type thing. And I might not even be that way. But that's just how people deal with us. So imagine being a kid from a California, or from a Miami, where it's always warm. I ain't really looking forward to that cold weather. So you already mentally are defeating yourself. If you're from Cali, whether it's the weather or I'm used to being able to go out anywhere, wherever, however, and it's not like that in Cleveland. So now you checking out because that's not what's happening around you socially. It's a mental thing. And I think that's
right.
I'm harping on it, but I think it's something that won't be a problem as we move forward, because again, I'm starting to see some of the cultural things inside of that building slowly, incrementally change. I'm hearing different stuff coming out of that building. I'm not hearing certain stuff coming out of that building. And and we talked about this in our last show as well. How many times rather we've heard different things from different people on the same day coming out of that building.
Right.
From whether it was the head coach, whether it was the owner, whether it was the general manager or the president or whatever, whether it was an offensive lineman. You heard.
Speaking of the owner, we haven't even heard from Haslam at all.
And that's a beautiful thing. That's a
It
beautiful
is.
thing. When you can sit down as the owner and be quiet because things are, happening well. And that's in general, because you got some owners like Jerry Jones or like a Robert Kraft who are going to talk a little bit more whether they want to or not. People are kind of into them and want to talk to them. But with a guy like our owner, he's been in enough BS, with his own company, with Pilot J. He probably doesn't need a lot of cameras in his face
Yeah, exactly. I think he
to get.
wants to be in the background. I think when he first bought the team, he wanted to be all hands on and all
Yeah,
in. He
yeah.
realized that that's not the way it needs to go, at least for him, and that being in the background works out a lot better, because now you haven't heard anything about the pilot flying JMS. I believe it's still like some stuff going on with that,
It's still some stuff, but again,
but you haven't heard, his name like involved in
right.
anything.
I mean, and when you're in litigations or potential litigations like that, no matter how big or small, the quieter you are, the better.
Exactly.
You don't want to be, doing doing interviews every other day, or because as soon as you get into that interview, you don't know when you're gonna get blindsided. Yeah, they just talking about, oh yeah, Baker Mayfield stinks again, and that was your first pick. How do you feel about that? And you're like, oh yeah, well, I love Baker, and we're gonna support Baker. Yeah, talk about that Flying J stuff, dog. You know
Right,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like it's like
As
a
you know,
setup.
that's those questions are coming.
So it's
So
better for them to be able for him rather, and his wife, to be able to just stand back, and let these football people. And I think he's tried to do it before, but his nature is to get involved.
yeah, he tried to do it last year, but then it got so out of hand.
He tried it. I
He
think he
had to
tried to
come out.
do it with Holmgren too. I think that's
Yeah,
what
he
was
did.
trying.
Right, and then
But
Hogan came in and pretty much took a vacation, a paid
man,
vacation while I was here. That may have been, out of all the regimes, that regime and then with Hugh were probably the most disappointing. But
that was
when
a heck of a
Hogan
setback.
came in,
Yeah,
man, we thought Hogan coming in was going to bring a level of respectability
I had a
to the
lot of
franchise, and that dude, he came and just collected a paycheck. You hadn't heard from him since too. Once he left here, you haven't heard from him at all.
$50 million, because it was a disgrace, though. It was a disgrace, and everybody knew it was a disgrace. Other teams could see that it was a disgrace. Other executives. So the dude came here and collected like $50-60 million, man. And boom, didn't do nothing but ride around on a damn golf cart.
But that was the thing, Cleveland had that reputation. Gerard Cherry on the radio always says that Cleveland was a spot that a lot of aging veterans or people in general, executives, will come where they could get the paycheck and not be held accountable for anything. Holmgren had, especially if you're an executive or head coach or GM, you get a guaranteed deal. So you can come in and get fired after a year or two, and you're still gonna get paid the terms of your contract.
You still straight. I mean, think about it. Everything is in such disarray. How the hell are you gonna know that I'm the one that messed that up? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I drafted the right guy. Maybe we need to fire the head coach because he's not motivating the guys right.
Yeah.
He's not developing the guys. So who's the scout? I didn't want that guy to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, it's always infighting, and we haven't heard any of that stuff. So
at least so far, man. At least so far.
And listen, we talking about week 10, and we know how. And a part of that is also absorbed by winning.
Yeah,
winning
that's true.
Also helps to kind of quench any extracurricular nonsense that's going on. But I think too, even though we don't have a lot of veterans, or the right kind of veterans on defense, we got some pretty good leadership veterans on offense. Guys like Landry, OBJ, who are, J.C. Treader. You're seeing guys, Conklin, who have been in the league for a while, and they're like, hey, they're adding not just stability in their positions, but I think they're adding stability in the locker room. Even in Case Keenum, that's a stability, because I've been here, I've done this, I've started, I've not started, I've sucked, I've been actually pretty good. He's
Right.
more level-headed. He might not be great on the field per se, but he's more level-headed in his approach
Yeah.
to the game.
And one thing I noticed too is like if the Browns get behind or they make a mistake, some mental error, turn the ball over, I'm not seeing panic that I've seen in the past.
Nope.
Even if we don't pull the game out, the only time I really saw us panic, that Pittsburgh game when we got behind by a lot, you can start to see, things dismantle, but I still didn't see like Stefanski like freak out. The
I haven't
players
seen him
kind
freak
of,
out yet.
but that happens from time to time, and then we bounce back from it. Like
Yeah.
every big loss we've had so far this season, we bounce back. But
Well, I mean,
so we have the Houston Texans coming in town. I believe Houston is 2-6.
2-6.
2-6. And so, with records notwithstanding, you would think that this would be an easier game, but this is a trap game, and this game concerns me. The main reason why it concerns me is that Houston has played they've had a hard schedule, and they've played most of those teams tough. They played Houston tough. They played Pittsburgh tough. Did they play Baltimore too? Yeah, they played Baltimore.
You meant the Chiefs, I think. You said
they played the Chiefs tough.
I think you meant
they played the Chiefs tough. Yeah. Chiefs tough. They played Pittsburgh tough, and Baltimore as well.
I don't know if they played Baltimore yet, but they may have.
I think they did. Let me pull up their schedule.
I didn't look at their record in terms of who they played. I just looked at or was paying attention to how,
matter of fact, I think their first
record.
3 games was KC, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
Which I don't know who hates Houston,
right?
But it's apparent somebody hates you, because that is a gauntlet right there, coming out the gates, especially in this kind of an atmosphere.
Right.
With the COVID, and you kind of had no training camp. They came out and they looked pretty good. I wouldn't have expected them to be 2-6 right now, to be all the way honest. But Bill O'Brien kind of screwed them guys a little bit, and I guess they had enough of his crap. But
and of course, my phone wants to go slow.
No, that's all right. So
I gave my crack staff the day off today, and it's
so these guys are. You got it?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. All right. Yeah, they played the Chiefs first, lost 34-20. Then they played the Ravens, lost 33-16, and then they lost to the Steelers 31-28. Then they had to play the Vikings right after that, and then they beat Jacksonville, and then came right back and had to play the Titans and Green Bay. Yeah, so their schedule has been pretty much ridiculous. One of the hardest schedules that I've ever seen.
That's also been
8 games of the season.
That's also been with the turmoil of losing a coach mid-season. So they got a lot of stuff going on in that building. They just today fired a staffer that all the players really, really like, or an executive in the offices that they really, really like. So yeah, so it's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and stuff. So it looks like, honestly, it looks a lot like what generally happens here in Cleveland. So, those guys got a lot of distractions going on, but that notwithstanding, they are still a football team that gets paid. I think they have talent across the board. I don't think they're as talented as they've been in the last few years.
No, especially without DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, yeah, taking D Hop off the field changes a lot of dynamics, but on paper they still have enough talent to maybe not be 2-6 right now. They could, with their talent, let's say in a perfect world, they should be no less than 4-2, or 4-4 rather, in a perfect setting, because they did play some tough teams. So I can't say oh yeah, they, everything being equal, they wouldn't beat the Chiefs, or everything being equal, they wouldn't beat,
Right.
the Ravens or whatever like that. But
Because the Browns had that same schedule, we'd probably be like 3-5 right now.
yeah, we'd be 3-5 instead of 5-3 for sure. But so as I was looking at at the Texans, rather, um, their defense is ranked 13th in the league, which is,
Okay.
decent. They're a decent defense, not a great, but not really. They're actually pretty good, being 13th. However, they give up the most points, well, not the most points, but they give up a lot of points. They've given up 385 points.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they can be scored on. JJ Watt only has like 4 sacks. Now we all know that JJ Watt is capable of getting 4 sacks on Sunday. So him not having 4 sacks doesn't mean he ain't playing. He's JJ Watt. So he sees what we're starting to see Myles Garrett get, the
Right.
three,
Triple and quadruple
the
teams.
double team and the chip, all that kind of
Right.
stuff is happening wherever he lines up. JJ Watt always gets that. And I know he's had a lot of injuries and stuff like that, but you still got to respect that guy. So they have guys that you have to be concerned with. Also, this is just an interesting point. I didn't even think about this until I started doing a little bit of research, looking into both teams. Sunday will be the return to Cleveland Stadium for Romeo Crennel and Duke Johnson.
Okay.
I don't know if Duke is going to play, though, because he was out last week with a concussion. So they said he didn't practice. He didn't practice today. So we don't know if he's going to
That's
actually.
not a shot because he had concussions every other week when he was here.
He did. He did.
Either a concussion or a hamstring injury. So
but when he's healthy, I always like Duke.
I like Duke Johnson.
Yeah, was a
that
solid.
was kind of following me to take a shot at Duke. Duke always was professional. He played hard. Matter of fact, we probably underutilized him.
I think so. I mean, we do that a lot.
So
we do that a lot, underutilized guys. But for him, leaving here was easier. When you bring in Hunt, it makes you feel like, hey man, ain't no way you're gonna use. I'm already behind Chubb. Ain't no way that dude gonna be behind me too. Not after a while, he's not.
Right.
I mean, it was good to have all three of them at a certain point. Because remember when Chubb got hurt, and we was running Duke for a minute, and Duke was running really well, and then Chubb came back, and Chubb just went berserk when he came back.
Yeah, sure did.
It basically made it, kind of obsolete to even have Duke on the squad, but or made him expendable, should I say? I wouldn't say it made him obsolete, but made him expendable. Like they were like, we can get something for that. It'll all work out for us. So, watching this team, watching these guys come in, them being 2-6, them still having some talent, them still being a formidable on paper team. I agree 1,000%. You must have been looking at my notes or whatever. I agree that this is another one of those classic trap games, because we can start feeling good about ourselves at 5-3 and then end up, overshooting this game, looking forward to other games and losing. So we have to be totally ready. I think this is a good thing for us to be coming out of the bye. I heard Stefanski talking about possibly doing different things with Baker, doing things that are a little more in his wheelhouse, which probably means more rollouts, which probably means more out of the shotgun. But we'll see how that all plays out too. Stefanski ain't a wild guy. He don't do a whole bunch of wild stuff. And if he does, he's going to do wild stuff here and there, and then he's going to pull it back and do, very regimented things. I'm interested to see how he's going to do his play calling with Chubb coming back. Like, if you want to do some different things with Baker, how's that going to change how you actually are calling plays right now with Chubb, being back? So I'm interested to see that going forward into this game.
All right. So
You
what
want to
are
move into the
your
keys?
yeah, we did. That was just about to, go into that. Also, I just looked at the line. The spread is only 3. Um,
Really?
and basically, I guess
Trap.
what that means is that Vegas thinks that Houston has a shot. Because that's pretty much like if you were a home team
Yeah.
and you were a 3-point favorite, that's pretty much status quo.
Yeah, that's nothing.
They feel that that is about even.
That's
So
nothing.
they're a little bit down on the Browns week 2. So, all right, like keys, um, pretty much simple, man. Like my keys, like are pretty much the same every week too. I want to see, Baker progress as well. See that now that we have Chubb back, I want us to reestablish that dominance that we had the first part of the season, and I think that'll be a big part of that. And I want to see the defense start to take advantage of opportunities again. We did a really great job of forcing turnovers early. And it seems like every game we still get about 2 or 3 opportunities. In the last couple of games, we haven't taken advantage of those.
Right.
So I want to see the defense. As bad as our defense is, in order for us to win ball games, I think right now the defense has to create at least 1 or 2 turnovers a game to change the tide and slow down the momentum of the offense. So that's pretty much it, man. Like as far as um like Houston, like who to watch out for, Deshaun Watson is a professional. He's prideful, so I know he's gonna come bring it strong no matter what. Houston has a little speed. They got Fuller,
Mm-hmm.
other
Will
receiver.
Fuller, yep. Who else do they have on their damn?
Do they have Brandon
Wide
Cooks?
receivers.
Who's Brandon Cooks play? I
I
know
want
he's
to
a
say they got
touchdown.
fails too.
Do they?
Well, let me
But
see.
offensively, really just their team as a whole, they don't scare me a lot. They do have Brandon Cook, so they got speed. What they do, they don't scare me, but you still can't, like I said before, and what we said is that you can't take them lightly.
Yeah, you can't just overlook them.
And I want to see the Browns just jump on them early. Don't let them. I don't want to have a close game going into the fourth quarter, if possible. You know what I'm saying? I want to get like a lead and kind of let's see if we can dominate a game from beginning to end for once. I don't think we've done that yet.
Yeah,
No, we haven't. Now that we think about it, we have not just completely dominated the game from beginning to end. So that's one thing that I would like to see because, despite the talent that Houston has, you have all that turmoil going on. Eventually, that's going to, creep into the locker room. And you want to go ahead and punch a team like that hard in the mouth early, kind of mess up their psyche a little bit, and
get them thinking
so
sideways.
those are, the things I'm looking forward to. That's Sunday. And so, what about you? What are your keys to
Well,
victory?
um, well, my first key again, you know me, man. It's pretty simple. I'm generally about the same all the time too. The run game definitely is a concern for me because we haven't since Chubb has been out. We haven't run the ball the way we want to run the ball, or the way we were running the ball, the way we would like to see us run the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if Teller can make it back this week. Also having the potential of Chubb being back this week. And if so, I want to, how you going to run this guy? You gonna run him in the ground just because he's back, or are you going to take your time with him and piece him and part him? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just looking for some level of improvement from the run game that will slow their defense down a little bit. And having Chubb on the field, losing OBJ, but having Chubb on the field still might loosen up what they do in the from the passing angle. Because now, if Chubb is running hard enough, those guys got to start to fill in that box and account for what Chubb could potentially be doing to them. So I'm interested to see how the run game is going to play out. I also want to see how healthy and how effective Myles Garrett is after having a week off. see how that ankle has progressed, to see how that knee has progressed, to see if he can be a disruptive force or the disruptive force that we've seen him as and that we know that he can be. I don't know that he's had big games when he's played against guys like him, or not against him, but when a guy like a J.J. Watt is in the building.
Right.
Do you have a 4 or a 3 sack game and a strip or 2 strip sacks or forced fumble? You know what I mean? Like, do you have that same kind of a game or the potential of that type of game when that guy is in the building? But I know he's been a little dinged up, so I'm hoping to see that he's the Myles Garrett that we saw going all the way up to week 8. Before he kind of just wasn't. He was almost null and void the other night. And then, of course, how we decide to contain Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has generally had really good games against the Browns. I don't know if you know this, but our defense stinks, and our defensive, our coverage side of the ball is even worse than some of the schemes that we're running. The coverage is just bad. So what are we going to be able to do to slow this guy down or keep him contained in the pocket? Also, like you said, it would be nice to see us take advantage of a couple things here and there, a couple turnovers, if possible. I mean, this defense over the last, say, 3 weeks or so, they have had opportunities to make those turnovers. The problem is this defense didn't just get bad. This defense has been bad. The difference is this bad defense was making those plays. Just like you said, this bad defense was making those plays. They were making those interceptions or causing those fumbles and getting to the fumbles. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do to slow Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson almost always looks human until he plays us, I feel like. And then he plays us and goes for like 400 yards in the first half, type of thing. So I'm hoping that we will be able to figure that out and contain that guy. Also, the last part was the supposed new wrinkles in our offense that I've kind of heard Stefanski kind of tip his cap towards. I'll tell you what, I don't know if there'll be any new plays or whatever, but if you're going to do new plays, I think these teams are the teams to kind of try them against when these teams aren't necessarily the great team. This ain't the Steelers. This ain't, the Ravens, because we really only have 3 teams on our the rest of our record that are just way better than everybody else. So you got the Titans, the Ravens, and the Steelers. So when you play a team like the Jaguars in a week or two, when you play a team like the Texans, you have an opportunity to throw that wrinkle in there because those guys don't have the personnel or the technique to slow that.
And I hope he added a screen to the running backs. Please.
That would actually
stop the tight end screens.
So sufficient.
You know what? You don't have to stop the tight end screen because they haven't been horrible. But when you have, a guy like Kareem Hunt that you need to get in space, just utilize it. And I'm not sure why they haven't done that. I don't know if they're saving it, or what.
But for what?
But yeah, I don't. Some coaches are like that, man. Some coaches are like, well, we don't want to show everything. We want to keep some stuff, whatever. I think that's stupid. But some coaches do think like that.
They do.
But yeah, like, so I definitely hope if they have any wrinkles, please just add a screen pass to running back.
It'll be nice to see.
Right. So did you have any other keys moving forward? Because I know we're going to do our picks later on, and we'll give our predictions.
Yeah, we'll do our picks a little bit later on. I think that was it for me.
Okay.
As I'm looking over my list of stuff, I think I'm done. I think I'm happy enough. Oh, I don't think I said this, but I really wanted to say this. Really happy to have the Browns playing on Sunday. I know other people will probably be like, why? I almost always feel lost when the Browns don't play. Like, if we play on a Thursday and then there's no Sunday game, I'm like, Sunday all day, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can watch a game, but I'm probably not gonna
Right
just
now, see,
completely watch that whole game. I'm gonna be restless most
right.
of the day. That's just me.
See, I was
But
the exact opposite. I actually took this Sunday to relax, so I didn't have to be worried about these fools all day Sunday.
now I'll say this. I
And
did say
I
that.
just
I
kind
did
of chilled
say
out
that.
and just enjoyed my football Sunday, stress
I
free.
did say that. But I watched the game outside.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said I watched the game outside the other day. You know, I just played it. I
Okay.
had it playing outside. I barbecued. It was nice out. So I actually had a chill type of day, not worrying
Okay.
about the Browns. So at least I filled in my day with something
Right.
uh,
Right.
this time. You know, usually I'm just sitting around like, you know, and I turn on TV and I got to watch the Steelers and whoever, or I got to watch the Ravens versus whoever. Man, I
Yeah.
don't,
See, I had
like, it
a
makes
friend
me
of
mad.
mine.
I'll watch them, but
I had a friend of mine let me use her Sunday ticket password. So
okay. So shoot, you watch the game you wanted to watch then.
yeah. So right. So yeah. So I get where you're coming from that aspect. Because there have been times where during the bye week we get stuck with the worst games ever. You know, so at least I got
Yeah,
to pick the game I wanted to see. I got to watch a little tour, you know, in
like
the afternoon games. Because for whatever reason, why does the NFL front load the schedule now, the TV schedule? Why do they have 85 games at the 1 o'clock start? Then they have two games
I was just getting ready to say it's like
at
a game and a half at 4.
right. They used to split it almost like down the middle. Remember, like based on geography. Like, you know, you got all your West Coast teams mostly were going to be at the later time, but now they do it everything at 1. And I'm sure it's probably some type of money thing where because that game is on a little bit later, you got more of the country probably viewing it. They probably want to have more eyes on those games at that
Well,
particular
you
point.
gotta consider something else too. They've taken one of those games. They take one of those games out by moving a team to Thursday. They take
Yeah,
one
that's
of those
true.
games completely out of the
Matter of
equation
fact,
because you got the
matter
Thursday
of
game.
fact,
Then you got a
matter
Sunday
of fact,
night.
they take 2 of those games out. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't even think about that, man. That's an excellent.
Yep. So, all right, NFL, we're gonna move a little bit forward. Uh, I think our next topic, folks, I'm
Well, it
going
was
to,
supposed to be Ohio State, but
well,
thanks to
yeah,
COVID-19, there is no Ohio State game. And really, there wasn't going to be an Ohio State game anyway because we were playing the Maryland Terrapins, who by
the
far
Maryland Terribles.
who by far have the worst uniforms in the history of athletics. I
They
equate
don't,
those things to they're
listen,
like crash dummies.
listen, they do not have, that's that specialty one that looks like that's in the color of that flag or
They
whatever.
draped in the flag. Yeah, they
Yeah.
wear those all the time, don't they?
Do they? I didn't
On the
know that they
helmet
wore
it
those
is.
all the time.
Like the helmet is like half
Oh, well,
that
that's the
ugly
helmet,
Maryland
not the whole
flag.
uniform. I'm now. You remember this game because you were like all over the place. You were like fit to be tied with this when they wore the uniform and the flag color was the shirt on the
It's
jersey.
awful.
Dude, I said I've never seen Sean post so much on Facebook in my life. You could not.
It
I
was
was
the
like, dude.
tackiest uniform. It was the tackiest uniform ever. So one thing you guys have learned about me, and I get criticized for this, except for the people who are the same way I am. I am a uniform snob.
Completely.
It's nothing worse to me than a tacky uniform, especially when you have to test these things out before you even put them out. Like I'm wondering, like who designs these things, huh?
I said,
Like who let those uniforms out the building?
But listen, what makes whatever you decide is tacky? Like what says because you didn't like the
Because
Browns?
you know why? Because there's a lot of people that agree with me, They just don't care as much as I do. They're like, oh yeah, those are pretty bad, but
Listen,
it's whatever.
now I'm not going to stand here and say that those uniforms were great. I won't say that. What I will say is they weren't the worst uniforms
Yes, they
I'd
were.
ever seen.
Yes,
No,
they were.
you know,
What's
you know
worse?
what's the worst uniform? I got some bad uniforms. That dumb Steelers uniform that they wear with the jail stripes on
Oh,
it.
the Bumblebee? Yeah,
Awful,
that's up there too. That's up
awful.
there.
That olive green that Green Bay wears sometimes. They're old schools. That is awful
Yeah,
too.
that's bad.
That's all. Like
Yes, it
those are
is.
bad uniforms. But this thing, I can see what they were doing. They were trying to go towards the Commonwealth. I get it. Aha, it's the flag and it's college. I see it. So I was giving them a pass. I mean, you just listen, man. If they would have muted, if this were this time
Look,
right now, they would have muted you on Facebook because they was like, man, I think this
pretty
dude's
much.
gonna do something to those folks.
Man, look, their mascot is a turtle. Just put a turtle on a helmet and be done with it. You know what I'm
Who
saying?
wants the
Like,
turtle on the helmet?
that's their mascot. So put a turtle on there and
But
or an
listen,
M.
listen. Our mascot is basically
We
is
don't have one.
basically damn Brutus.
Oh
But I
no,
don't
the
want to see
Buckeyes.
look,
Yeah.
I don't want to see Brutus on the side of no damn helmet.
No, but you know what though? Our uniforms are clean. They're plain,
Now our
but they're
uniforms are clean.
clean.
Now dig this though, because the basketball team, the Maryland basketball team, don't they have the turtle with behind the M as
Yeah,
their
yeah,
logo?
yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
And put that on. You just throw it on a football helmet and call it a day. Because to me, here's my thing, man. So we don't even be on this all day. Look, I think when you have tacky uniforms, it messes up the whole aesthetic on television. It makes it, especially this, like most of the bad teams
I agree with that.
have, like you're already a bad football team. And like, okay, prime example. All right, Monday night, we was forced to watch the Jets, right? And they out there looking like North Texas State.
North Texas University, UNT. Yeah, I mean, they
mean
all
green.
green. They all
Right.
green.
So not only do we have to watch a bad football team, y'all look bad doing it and found a way to blow the game in typical Jets fashion. But anyway, I know that's my rant, my uniform rant.
Listen, we're gonna have
For
to do
today.
every week. Every week, I may end up having to do like a fashion segment to see whose tacky uniform pissed Sean off during the week. You know,
It's like the
is it a
Browns,
tacky
like
uniform? What about a tacky field? Do you like Boise State's field? Do you got an issue with that?
no. Yes.
You don't, or you do? You
I
hate
do
it?
have an issue with it. It's another team's even worse. Like who was it? Eastern Washington with that red field?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah, it's tacky. It's gimmicky and it's tacky. Yes, I have a problem with it. That's why everybody used to go up there and lose all the time, especially if Boise wore like the all blue, they blend in with the field. You don't even know where you
Like you
guarding
can't
out
see
there.
it. You can't see
Can't see them.
They got the camouflage jumping on. Well,
everybody
like
should have
said,
a nice, clean,
slick,
and I don't mind. I don't mind stuff being jazzied up. People are like, well, Sean, you just plain Jane, you want everything just regular. No, like I'm cool if you change them up and jazz them up. Just make sure it's not tacky. You know, like the Rams. The Rams ruined a perfectly good uniform.
No, that
nothing
uniform is
wrong.
off. That uniform
It
is
was
off.
nothing wrong.
Uniform, yeah. I don't. One of my friends that lives in LA said to me that the uniforms are supposed to represent, the fire. So like that's why you see the color change as it goes down. So it's in LA. Their new team is hot. Blah blah blah. Because they got this flame out there that's supposed to be burning or supposedly burning or whatever. I'm like, bro, that don't make no sense whatsoever.
It doesn't.
Because there was nothing wrong with those guys' uniforms last year. Nothing. I didn't dislike their traditional, that blue and white joint. I actually like the 80s uniforms that they had with
the blue and
gold.
The Eric Dickersons.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like those, I thought those was cool. I actually had a Rams jacket, a Rams coat, because I liked how that looked. It looked dope. You know, to see that rim and the gold horns, and you know, I thought it looked dope. But you know, when they moved back to LA, then they went to the blue and white, which I was fine with that too, because the emblem was still basically the same. And that
Right.
was what their original colors were, right? So okay,
Exactly.
I get that. A tip towards the traditional, you know, the original stuff. Okay, I'm fine with that. But this thing, like I'm literally like every time I watch them play, I'm like, man, I can't even watch the game. I'm looking at them like I'd be ashamed of my damn self if I had that on. Like, bro, that
Yeah.
is that glitter? Does it glitter? Like, I don't know. The shit looks weird to me.
They
And that's
look
not a
like
real
little.
man
They look like
football
little
jersey.
league
Yeah,
football
like that's
jerseys,
not a
but
real man football jersey. Now I give you that one. Sometimes the rest of them, I'm telling y'all, anybody who's listening or anybody who's going to listen to this, I'm telling you, there's times when Sean is absolutely ridiculous with his assessment of folks' attire for the freaking game. It's and I don't argue with him no more about it. I don't. I'm for what? Because all he gonna listen, he's not gonna change. He's not gonna say to himself, "All right, I see what you're saying." No, the hell he's not. He's not.
no.
He's not. He's gonna be like, man, you know what he's gonna say? I can't believe you like that crap.
Exactly.
But all right.
Exactly. So
So listen,
we
since
got
we
off
don't
track.
have our Buckeyes segment that we were expecting to have, I was all prepped up for it and everything, and then you know about 1 o'clock this afternoon, we got the announcement that it was official. It was we heard the rumors, but we got the official. It ain't happening. I had to, you know, pivot a little bit, but that's okay because we probably needed to talk about this, or at least mention some of this with the NBA season coming up. What, roughly in about a month and a half? So
Yeah.
we're gonna skip into a little bit of NBA talk, folks. Oh wait, I can't do it yet. I pulled my Cavs hat out. So now I'm in Cavs mode. As y'all can see, I was rocking my Cavs because I wanted to wear my vet hat. I bought this at the Indians team shop like 2 years ago, I think, on Veterans Day or around Veterans Day. They always do like that special. So I wanted to wear that, but I was like, damn, what am I gonna wear that's gonna match that? My gray warm up like I'm on the team. Look, I'm like KD right now, just warming up in the hoodie.
Good
But
ERP.
we're gonna talk a little Cavs, get some Cavs action out here. So going into this upcoming season, I don't think anybody's confused, and I hope not. Any Cavs fans that are out there, and definitely Sean and I, who are, believe it or not, we are actually Cavs fans. This team is definitely, absolutely in transition. I don't know if you'll call it a complete and total rebuild, but we're definitely in the mode, either pre-rebuild or
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a total. I think it's a total rebuild. So
I think it's going to have to be, which is why I think we're either right before the rebuild or we're right after the rebuild. Like you got pieces and parts that are valuable or you see value in, but you got to figure out what to do with them. It's a lot of money on their books. So
yeah, so tell me about that. So I know we still have Kevin Love, unfortunately. I know he's still on the team, taking up probably 75% of the cap space of the team. Tristan Thompson, isn't he finally gone technically?
Now, I did a little bit of research, just a little bit of research to try to figure out what his actual status is with the team. I don't know that he's a unrestricted free agent. I believe he might be in that restricted free agent
I need
spot.
him to be unrestricted.
I need him to be
That's what I need him
unrestricted
to
as
be.
well. But you know me, and I listen, folks. I'm gonna let y'all in on some stuff. And Sean, anybody who knows me already knows this about me. So Tristan is actually one of the focal points of what we're talking about. So the Cavs, again, they're kind of in a rebuild, or they need to be in complete rebuild mode. But they literally have, if we just go by salaries, that they're paying guys out, they literally have about $70 million tied up in 3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys, if you're a sports fan, you kind of know this, but I want to try to break it down for folks that might just be listening because they are family, friends, or want to know more about how this kind of works. So if you have a team of 12 to 15 guys and 3 guys have $70 million and the team's salary in this upcoming season is $110 million, that means only $40 million is going to, and I say only $40 million, I wish I had only $40 million going anywhere towards me, but you have only $40 million going towards the other 12 guys on that team. So that means that most of those guys on that team are probably making about $3.5 million to $4 million a year, which is actually pretty solid money. But let me tell you something about what that actually specifies. That actually specifies you don't have anybody on your team because there aren't many people in the league that's going to play for $3.5 million a year that's going to get you to the finals, okay? Or that's going to even probably won't even get you to the playoffs in some cases. So as the Cavs move forward with this $110 million salary that they got to pay their team, you're paying, like Sean said, you're paying Kevin Love $31 million, which is absolutely ridiculous, especially at this point in Kevin Love's career.
Right.
You're paying Andre Drummond $22 million, and he's already said he is going to use the option, which will bump him up to about $28 million or $29.
Yeah, I don't blame him for doing it. Yeah, the
No,
money is there.
No, I don't blame him either. I do it too.
Take it.
I do it too, because guess what? The next team that he goes to, ain't nobody giving him that $29 million.
No.
Not outright.
No.
He's not a year. He might get a salary for.
And he's solid. You know,
no,
he's a solid guy.
Really
but
listen, I'm not even talking about
$28 million solid though.
I'm not giving him almost $30 million a year if I'm any other team in the league. That's why they make those contracts like that. So the same thing happened with Kevin Love. Of course, Kevin Love opted into that. Man, who else is going to pay this dude at that time $28 million, and then he ended up getting an extension? I have no idea what the hell that they were doing to give him that extension, but whatever. So you're looking at 31 and 28. That's $60 million between 2 people, man. At that point.
Yeah. And I pulled up a website, a good website if you want to look up player salaries is hoopshype.com.
Hoopshype, okay.
And they'll tell you, they go through each player and how much they have left on their deal and whether or not they're free agents. So Tristan Thompson is an unrestricted free agent.
Is he unrestricted? Okay, good.
Yes, because he made $18 million last year, and now he is zero.
He wants at least $18 million this year, though. The Cavs made him an offer. He didn't like the numbers.
Did we offer him a contract?
Yeah, that's what I just said. The Cavs made him an offer.
Oh, wow.
He just didn't like whatever those numbers represented.
Good.
There's stuff out there that says that that people seeing him out in LA having drinks with LeBron. So it's a potential he could end up in LA. But guess what? If he goes to LA, he ain't finna get no $18 million a year to be there.
No, not at all.
So you just, the bum is just trying to beat the Cavs out of money. But he'll go to LA for less money. You know what I mean?
And I want to say this about Tristan. Like, to me, Tristan, you played hard. Despite the past couple of years it being, a down years for the Cavs, we were just downright awful. You really didn't hear him complain or, bitch and moan about being here. He went on it and he was professional. So I'll give him that. But it's just time. I just want to move on from that entire era. Like if we're going to rebuild, we need to go ahead and clean house of some of those older guys and let's rebuild and let's focus around, Colin Sexton and Kevin Porter Jr. So Tristan's like he's coming off the books. Delly is coming off the books because he made $9 million. And that's it for the big names. Like the Cavs are really stuck with some bad contracts. Like, well, I guess
mean, hell, they were
NBA-wise not bad. Like Dante Exum is still here, but he only has 1 year left at $9 million. So he's kind of like trade bait, probably.
They can trade him or buy him out even.
Right. And that's really it. So I guess, you know what? I guess really besides Love and Drummond, the Cavs are pretty much at the point now where they can really start to retool. Because even look with Drummond, him being his last year on his deal, he's tradable too. At
He's
some point, somebody need a big man, around,
I mean, he's very tradable,
half of the
especially
season.
Yeah, when
Right,
Cavs
now-
start looking for those extra veterans, those guys that can score and defend and all that stuff going into the playoffs,
Right.
like right before the trade deadline, that makes him more valuable.
Now, unfortunately, we're stuck with Kevin Love. He
No,
got
ain't
3
nobody
years
touching
left on that horrible deal. Ain't nobody taking Kevin.
Ain't nobody touching Kevin
off
Love.
our
He's
hands.
here. They couldn't find anybody. From what I saw, they were looking, and nobody's interested. Of course, they're not. That's the same thing I said about Tristan, which is why he ended up having to stay here. Why nobody trying to pay that dude no $18 million a year to do what he does?
Do
And
you
listen,
think Kevin? Do you think Kevin might take? I don't know. With that much money left on the deal, I don't even know if you can even do a buyout at this point. Can you?
I don't know for sure.
That's $100 million left.
You said it's 2 more years?
3.
Damn, hell no. That's a lot.
Right.
I mean, at that
That's
kind
a
of
lot
money. Because what is it?
Because he's not going to be happy here.
No, listen. And here's how you know he ain't gonna be happy. This fool is on social media, advocating for the Cavs to make Tristan Thompson their first priority. Man, if you don't shut
Did he
your
say
ass
that?
up,
You know what? So, I've been asleep on the Cavs, man, because I haven't heard any of this foolishness.
yeah. Listen. Now you already know. Let me tell y'all what I truly believe and truly feel. Not just about Tristan Thompson, but I've mentioned this specifically on our show multiple times. We in Cleveland are enamored by normal, average ball players who play hard and who like being here. We love that shit here. Not always me. I'm more I'm more into the game itself, and I'd rather have a good player than just a good guy.
Right. Like, I like those guys, so I'm a realist, too.
So,
for some reason, we elevate those guys to, like,
probably,
Jesus status. And that's one thing I don't do.
That's probably more specific. Like, what you just said is probably way more specific than what I said. I don't see the value in just having this good guy around. When Andy Varejao got traded, man, there was people all over the place upset that I wish Andy was here. For what? What did he do? Yeah, he was an energy guy and he did play hard. And I'm not gonna act like I didn't like him. What I'm saying is, you talking about we need him for what? Like, what did he provide?
That guy can be replaced, right?
That you can't get from exactly. We can't get it from somewhere else. And I'm gonna tell you somebody who I put in that same ilk. Tristan Thompson. Now, I don't like Tristan Thompson as a basketball player. I remember when we drafted Tristan Thompson, I was like, who is this bum? I saw him play, and I had to reassess that, and I said, no, it's not who is this bum. It was, he's a bum. He got a little bit better over the next couple of years. He kind of developed himself, but I'm always against a lottery pick as a development. That's a wasted pick if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree.
So they did whatever he needed to do to develop this guy. Then LeBron came back. So his development, which he did without LeBron being here, I will give him that credit. He turned himself into a more valuable guy, but he was still only from where he was to where he ended up. He was still a basic basketball player, still incapable of doing certain things. He's not very athletic. He doesn't have great footwork. What he does well is rebound offensively. He's a really good, I wouldn't even give him a grade. He's a really good offensive rebounder. He is. I'm not going to take that away from him. Is he an $18 million offensive rebounder? No, the hell he's not. Is he an $18 million basketball player? No, the hell he's not. You got one person alone to thank for that dumbass contract, and that dude plays in LA.
Yep.
Because he never would have gotten that contract if LeBron wasn't here advocating for him.
Hey, RP, see if you can fix your mic a little bit. You kind of got a little bit muffled.
Hold up. What you think now? Can you hear me a little better?
That's a little bit better, but it's still a little off. But I can hear you.
Here I go. I keep trying to do. This is my own fault. I try to do it without the microphone, and then this kind of stuff happens.
One thing I noticed, it still sounds the same. I mean, I can hear you, and I can make out. Yeah, I can make out what you're saying. It's just a little muffled, but we'll roll with it. The Cavs are still somehow on the hook for J.R. Smith. I guess we have to pay a portion of his salary. How that works, I don't know. So we're paying him this year and next year like $1.4 million.
Which is crazy, but as a part of the buyout, they bought him out.
Okay. All right, so that makes sense. But looking at this roster overall, the Cavs are awful. And we're going to be in for another long season now. Before COVID hit and everything last season, as bad as we were, I actually enjoyed watching the young guys because I was starting to see some guys develop, especially Kevin Porter Jr. I think he is the wild card in all of this. Like, he's the one that if the Cavs are going to, get back into playoff contention, he's the guy that has to pan out. Sexton is Sexton, even though he gets a bad rap in Cleveland, which I don't understand why. He plays hard. All he does is goes out and scores 20 a night. Unselfish ball player, and he gets a bad rap. But I like his game. But he's a small guy, so he can't do it alone. Garland, the book is still out on him. But if Kevin Porter Jr. develops, I think he's the wild card in all of this. Other guys, young guys like Chetty, I'm down on Chetty. I think he is what he is. He has no business starting. Yeah, we are stuck with him. I don't know why they gave him that extension. Larry Nance Jr. is what he is. He's going to be a role player. He's basically is going to be Tristan Thompson going forward. And we're going to have to hit on these drafts. I hate that we got the 5th pick in the draft coming up. So basically we're not going to get so we're not going to get a difference maker in this draft, but we'll see going forward. Like I said, I'm interested in just seeing the young guys develop. They have a lot of heart. I think BJ Bickerstaff is the right coach. I actually thought that what was his name? The coach that got fired is escaping me right now. I thought Beeline was a good coach. I just think that he was so old school, and especially in the pro game, he couldn't adjust. But I think his principles As far as the fundamentals and stuff were there, I just think at his age and the way that these new guys are, a lot of these guys don't like hard coaching. And I think that kind of rubbed them the wrong way. I don't think they disliked Beeline at all. I just think it ended up not being the right fit, but we needed a teacher. And I think BJ Bickerstaff is a teacher as well, and they respond to him. So I know we're going to be bad, but I'm excited to see how these young guys develop going forward.
Well, if you recall, this version of what we're seeing out of the Cavs was supposed to have happened in 2014, 15, when LeBron came back.
Yeah, exactly. It sure was.
This was supposed to be that because that's what they hired Black to be. A teacher, a guy who had fundamentals. It was going to really hone in the skills of the young guys, et cetera, et cetera. He was going to pull them out of the retarded conundrum that Mike Brown had left on this squad. And, you know, try to move
for Mike Brown.
Huh?
So you have no love lost for Mike Brown
at all. Not one bit. I tell you what, that dude sucked. He sucked really, really bad as a head coach. He might be a good defensive coach, and I think he's earned his bones doing that in San Antonio and in Golden State, and that's good. Like I don't hate the dude. I just don't want to see him on no bench for no team that I like as a head coach.
I understand. You want me both,
but you know, David Blatt was supposed to be that guy who was going to pull us out of that and turn Kyrie into, you know, whatever he was going to be. It was going to, you know, fix all of that, you know, and then LeBron came in here and was like, nah, ain't none of that finna happen. So then we got into the market of the high contracts. We got into the market of the, you know, we got to win now. We're not building anything, only to have it fall apart brick by brick and be back in the same spot in 5 years.
You know what? LeBron, the way that he moves, LeBron is like Godzilla in this sense.
Yeah.
Godzilla comes in and saves the day. But when he leaves whatever city that he was in, it look like an ashtray once he gets done with it.
Yep.
And that's what LeBron has done. Like when he came back the second time, we got the championship, but he left destruction in his wake.
We did get the chip.
Right. Now, this time, though, he didn't leave us as bad off as he did the first time.
It was impossible.
The first time, the Cavs they was running guys out there that I've never heard of in my life.
It was impossible for him to leave us in a spot that was worse than that first time around. And I think, though, the first time around, the teams, I don't know who he befriends as players, but he's done a better job of befriending better players as he's gotten older. Those guys, in that first run with the Cavs, before, you know, when he left the first time for Miami, when he left, I was still a season ticket holder. So a lot of my frustration with LeBron was because you left me with this to watch, homie. Like I'm watching Boobie Gibson and Mo Williams and who else? I don't even remember some of those guys. I mean,
Anthony Parker.
Oh, no. Who was it?
Antoine Jameson.
Anthony Parker, Candace Parker's brother. You're right.
Yeah. Anthony
Ramon
Jameson.
Sessions.
Oh my God.
Yep. We had all of those guys that were still on the team. And
think about the next year after that. So once we got rid of all those veterans.
Then we had what's that guy's name?
Yeah, that's how bad they were. I don't remember any of those guys.
You would remember them if I brought their names up, because it was like first of all, I just couldn't believe that we had reached a point where you couldn't get nobody to come to Cleveland, dog. Because
Right.
this was also in between the eras of, like we said, LeBron had left, Kyrie hadn't gotten here. So in that in between, we turned around and got the worst first round pick possible, number one pick
Oh, Anthony Bennett. Oh, I forgot
in the
about him.
history of number one picks. We ended up getting Anthony Bennett as the number one pick. And I mean to tell you, I've probably never seen a worse basketball player to ever play a game. That dude was awful, man. He was he was legit awful. He looked like he couldn't catch. He looked like he couldn't figure out where he belonged on the floor. It was bad. It was awful.
All right, man. I'm gonna run down the
Yeah, go ahead.
2012 roster.
Go ahead.
So Kyrie got here 2012. So you had Omri Caspi, Wayne Ellington, Alonzo G.
Alonzo G. That was the dude I was thinking about right there.
Somehow Booby was still here, but I don't remember him being here.
Booby was here because he had so much money, nobody wanted him. So they just.
But he basically rode the bench. I don't think he played.
No, he didn't play that much.
Kevin Jones. I have no idea who Kevin Jones was. John Lauer. I don't know who that was. I forgot we had. Sean Livingston actually played pretty well when he was here.
I didn't want him to go. I wanted him to stay. Him and Maurice Spates were here.
Yep, we had Spates that year. We had C.J. Miles. C.J. played well. Oh, I forgot about Jeremy Pargo, Samardo Samuels.
Samardos. Come on, man. Say that name to yourself and ask, is that a basketball player?
Then we had like Deion Waiters. And they won 24 games that year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for that trash they was running out there on a nightly basis, 24 isn't that bad.
I sat through 26 straight losses, man. I've watched some of the worst basketball anybody who has ever had to sit and watch. I couldn't give those tickets away. I couldn't act like I would ask people like, yo, you want to come to the game, man? I'm just gonna go hang out. Maybe I'll just go eat or whatever. If nobody wanted to come. My wife and I were forced to go watch that trash night after night after night. It was awful.
And then they were improving. So that 2013 squad, they won 33, which probably means they were probably about 4 or 5 games from making a playoff spot.
I think they were.
That's when we did the Andrew Bynum experiment. Remember that?
Yep.
We brought him Andrew Bynum for a year.
And he only played for half a year. He didn't play the whole year.
Right.
He was out by Christmas.
I forgot we had Jared Jack.
Yep.
Had Jared Jack. So this wasn't the year. When was the year we had Baron Davis for like half the year? That must have been 2011.
I think it might have been the year before. And listen, that was the best basketball I saw for a while, but because I was at the games a lot, you could see the frustration on Baron because his basketball IQ was out of the building, and those dudes was like baby basketball IQs. He couldn't understand why they weren't doing certain things and stuff like that. It was crazy.
Right. No, he was here the year LeBron left. That's the only season he played with us.
Okay. Yeah, Baron was nice. He was still, at that point, he was kind of beat up physically.
And that team was, oh my God.
Christian Nyanga. Yeah, that team was awful.
Christian Nyanga, Ryan Hollins, Jamario Moon.
I thought Ryan Hollins was here, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Luke Herring, Goldie Graham. And that team won. How they won 19 games that year is beyond me.
Listen, I don't know how they won that. I don't remember. The one win I remember they beat the Heat the second time they came back.
When they came, yep.
And I couldn't. I was happy and clapping and stuff, but in my mind I was like, "Boy, LeBron must got a food poisoning." Because it ain't no way that these dudes should have beat the damn Heat.
But that was Baron Davis that game. Baron was like, "We're not losing that game."
That's what it was.
Like he put the whole team on his. I remember.
Baron wasn't there the first game when LeBron.
No, he wasn't.
And I mean, again, I've never seen that level of vitriol for one individual ever in my life.
I
Like
was there.
You could feel the evil in that building, man. You could
Yeah, it
feel
was.
it was awful. Look, I was a part of it too. I was booing his ass every time he touched the rock too. But it was a bad like that.
For those of you for the 1.5 people outside of Cleveland listening to this podcast, it was so bad that night. The first time LeBron came back to Cleveland in a Heat uniform, the man was so nervous that he couldn't come out for the pregame.
For the warm-ups. None of that.
He was in the bathroom because that's how much
He didn't want
vitriol
to get booed.
and
But as soon as he
hate.
I mean, listen, they were booing this dude so loud, like my eardrums were popping. They were just like the boos every time he did anything. It was like I kind of had to do this because my ears were just like, I was like, man, this is crazy. And I would just be looking around at people were, I mean, dog, it was the craziest scene. Sports-wise, that's probably the craziest scene I've seen.
Yeah,
like I wasn't at Bottlegate and all that stuff. That was one of the craziest.
I was at Bottlegate, but I think that Heat game was a lot worse. And then LeBron, once he settled in, you know what? Because I saw it when he went to the free throw line for the first time, and they was giving him the business, and he hit both those free throws, and he cracked a smile. He settled down and probably dropped like 40. He went nuts.
Like in that quarter. Look, in that
Bosh.
He just
him and Bosh went crazy. And matter of fact, that game springboarded them that season. Remember, they were struggling the first third of that season, and then they ripped off something like what?
Yeah, they were like
15 in a row or something like that.
They were like 500 when they came in.
They were on a huge winning streak after that game. They came in here.
Yeah, that changed.
When he cracked that smile at the free throw line and he relaxed.
Yep.
Yeah, he went nuts after that.
I saw him smiling. I was looking at him like, this son of a bitch.
You know what? And one more point about that game. The thing I hated the most when the Cavaliers basically went out there before the game. Yep. They pretty much had an orgy before the game.
Man, listen.
I was like, man.
I started calling them cats different names.
Right.
My wife used to be like, she was so appalled because I'd be saying that junk out. Like, I would go to the Cavs games because we had to, because we were season ticket holders. But I'd be at the Cavs game, dogging the Cavs. Like after that game, I had no respect for Mo Williams. I had no respect, none whatsoever for Boobie. And I wasn't no big Boobie fan anyway. But all y'all guys going out there to grab that dude jockstrap, I was like, nah.
I thought Mo Williams was the only one that didn't go shake his hand.
He didn't shake his hand in the beginning of the game. He went out there after the game was over with, though.
Okay, because I know he was one or two, if I'm not mistaken, who didn't. They had nothing to do with him.
He was talking a little bit of smack, like, nah, whatever. But after the game was over with, the first one out there, of course, was Boobie. And then the next dude right after that was, I called him a name that is not Mo, but it rhymes with Mo Williams.
Right.
From that point forward, I ain't had nothing else. I had nothing left for that guy. And for the people who are listening, all 6 of y'all, I have a really good and bad habit of giving people nicknames. If you ever hear me refer to somebody being a bag of M&Ms, it's generally one person, and his name is Tristan Thompson. He's a bag. It came out of a whole situation. He turned down really good money. I think he got a 3-year offer for like $52 million. That's $13 million. I thought to myself, first of all, I wouldn't pay Tristan Thompson $13 million to average a single. Who would? The Cavs offered to do the contract, and he turned it down. I said, the audacity of this sumbitch. You turned down 13. Who is going to give you more than $13 million? So I was having
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Only the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I'm having this conversation at my seat in the stadium And the people around me are arguing with me. And they were like, well, I mean, if you trade him, who you gonna trade him for? Man, I'd trade his ass for a bag of M&Ms. And from that point forward, he's been a bag of M&Ms to me. And I'm talking about plain M&Ms, not peanuts, not the real good kind, regular ass M&Ms. That's what I feel like Tristan Thompson was worth. And then these dudes getting 16, and then of course it escalates up to almost 18 and a half, $19 million right now for last season. But last season he did average a double-double for the second time in his whole career.
Yeah, he played his ass off last year.
For all 57 of those games. That was awesome.
You know what? He played his ass off last season. I have no beef with Tristan. I have more beef with the Cavs for giving him that. More so than him taking.
Trust me, that front office, I'm still pissed off at them right now for they kept him up. I know why they did it. You know, attempting to try to appease some of the season tickets. You got to have somebody or something for those guys to want to come back and see. But no,
and he's played awful. And they treat him. They treat Kevin Love as the OG, and he doesn't really deserve OG. I mean, he's a veteran.
He has done what we needed him to do to win a championship.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'll say that.
I salute you, sir, but he's not, and I don't know that he ever can be what he was when he was at his best. He wasn't at his best with us, for us. I think he was at his best in Minnesota, you know, playing down low, posting people up. He had great footwork, had a great hook shot, had great moves inside. He rebounded a lot. I mean, this dude, 20 and 18 every night, damn near, it seemed like 20 and 20, 25 rebounds a couple of nights. Like, right. The dude was a monster in Minnesota. He came here, had to change his game. And, you know, I don't know that he's ever been the same since. He's had a few nagging injuries since he's been here, a couple serious injuries, you know, the separation.
Right.
The shoulder separation that he had.
Well, right now, I need him off my basketball team.
I need him and Tristan Thompson off this damn team.
Because all he's doing is taking up space and cap space, and we need to develop these young guys. And
we do, and I think that's what needs to happen. You need that money because ain't nothing attracting no free agents or anybody if you ain't got the money to pay them. You're probably gonna have to overpay to get somebody to come in. So.
And this is where you go back to old school player development and scouting, because we're not going to get a free agent. There's not going to be any quick fixes. We probably look like
that's Dan Gilbert's fault. That's Dan Gilbert's fault for allowing LeBron. The reason that the Heat really haven't ever fallen off is because they had great leadership up top when LeBron was there, and they were like, "No." Yeah, we might get one or two guys, but they could afford that because they had other guys on that team. They could go get a guy that LeBron might have wanted or draft a guy that they thought LeBron might have wanted. That's just one or two guys. That ain't the whole team. That's not an entire structure based on LeBron James. So they ended up being middle of the road for a long time and then adding a piece or two and then, you know, ascending to one of the better teams in the East, and then ending up being in the finals. And they still have a really good coach and that same structure above that. So, like the culture is what you got to build. What culture do we have?
Right.
And I think Bickerstaff can put that together, but I also think that's what they were trying to do with David Black. LeBron ruined that. I don't think LeBron's coming back to ruin that for Bickerstaff. So he should be good, and it would be interesting to see how he develops these guys as we go forward. So, you know, again, go Cavs. I would love to see another one of these in the trophy case, but I know it's going to take a little bit of time.
At least for
it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of time even for us to be remotely competitive on a nightly basis.
You're looking at, unless we get some type of luck, you're probably looking at close to a decade, man.
I don't think we're looking at a decade per se. I'd say to become a team that's reputable,
Well,
I don't think it's going to take 10 years.
reputable, no. You know what? And I kind of jumped out there a little bit because you don't know what's going to happen with guard. Once the LeBrons and KD and those guys kind of fade off, like who's going to fill that void, coming up. So yeah, we don't have any idea what's going to happen with that. So, but it just looks so bleak right now. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like it's before it's to be competitive and reputable again. It's going to take a long time. So we'll see. And I got a question for you though. Do you think that LeBron James deserves a statue at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse?
Well, I don't know where that place is. However, I do know where the gun is. And if I see a damn statue of LeBron James outside of the gun, I'm gonna give it the Rocky treatment. Remember in Rocky 3, where he pulled up next to his statue and threw his helmet at I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Because to me, now hear me out, because most people who know me know I'm not a huge LeBron James fan. But it has nothing to do with me not necessarily being a LeBron groupie. To me, it's the equivalent of he's been the best Cav. That's easy. That ain't his fault either that he's the best Cav. Like, the Cavs just traditionally haven't had guys that were.
This hasn't been a good franchise,
right,
for the majority of its existence.
It's a no-brainer to take a chance on a guy like him. Like it was a no-brainer to draft that guy first in so many ways. I think you kind of had a back and forth maybe inside about him or Carmelo, but I think you could see the upside a little bit more with LeBron. So you take
and the marketing aspect of it too.
Oh, and the marketing aspect is
so you got to take him.
So you got to take the guy. So it's not his fault that he's not. Now I do agree he should have his jersey retired. I think his numbers are definitely worthy of. I mean, hell, if you retire Larry Nance's jersey, not that Larry Nance was no bad player.
Right, and Brad Daugherty.
Not that Brad was an awful player. He wasn't an awful player. Brad was a very solid basketball player. And at certain points, Brad was a very good basketball player. Same thing. Now, Mark Price, to me, is the only dude who should have his jersey out of the era of Cavs that we watched.
Right.
He's the only one that deserved it, just right out front. Not that Nance, again, was
based on the basketball's rules for getting to the Hall of Fame, he should be in the Hall of Fame too.
A lot of people are
starting to advocate for him to be in the Hall of Fame.
He's still one of the more underrated players that's ever played this game.
Right.
But to suggest that LeBron deserves a statue, he's done as much to destroy this franchise as he has to make the franchise better. So why give this dude a trophy for what? Because you won a championship? Listen, that's awesome. You'll never, ever hear me downplay. Dude, I'm still wearing the damn hat. You ain't gonna get me to downplay the championship. The championship was the greatest thing I've ever seen in terms of sports. It is the greatest thing that I've ever experienced in terms of sports. My hometown team won a game, won a series that they had no freaking business with. That's even better than us being better than everybody and just kicking their ass. That was awesome. And I don't know that there's an experience that'll be better short of the Browns winning the Super Bowl. Now, going back to my actual point, LeBron also left this team twice, and that has nothing to do with it, but it's the way he left the team. The first time, not just I ain't even talking about the decision crap. I'm talking about the disarray of the actual team. The point of waiting. Now the the team can't even try to pick up other guys because we put all our money and all our bets into this hat. And you leave us with this bullshit. If I'm the owner, nope, I'm not giving you no damn, because you could have done better. You could have done better. He did the same thing leaving Miami, but Miami played it better while he was there. So they didn't lose as bad as the Cavs did. Now, then he goes back to Cleveland, and dumbass Dan Gilbert does the exact same thing, lets him come in and kind of hamstring the team, and we're still living through it. We're still talking about guys that are not great basketball players making really great money that we still have to deal with while he's out there winning championships for another dude.
Here's my thing. Team. I think he should get one, and I think they will give him one. I mean, he broke the curse, so on that alone, I will go ahead and give LeBron James a statue, and especially if you're gonna give Jim Thome a statue. Who really doesn't deserve it.
Don't do that. You can't do that. You know why you can't do that? Because we're talking about two different franchises and two different sports. Don't tell me about the Cavs don't own the Indians.
No, they don't. So still.
No. So no. That excuse or that reasoning is nonsensical, Sean. That is absolutely nonsensical. The Cavs
own. You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. But I think LeBron should still get a statue for breaking the curse and bringing.
Well, then they need to give Kyrie one too.
That I've ever
they
seen.
Need to give Kyrie one too.
No.
Why not?
You know what?
He broke the curse.
This is about to go. This is about to go off to a whole nother.
He broke the curse too.
Tangent.
He was there.
You know what?
He hit the biggest shot in Cleveland in Cleveland sports history. There's never been a better, bigger, more pressure-packed shot than that shot.
And that's true.
And tell me
that's true.
LeBron should get a statue because he broke the curse. You ain't even say nothing about a statue, nothing. Just that he broke the curse. Well, then I need to see one of Kyrie too.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
This conversation is about to go into a whole nother.
You got to, bro.
And nobody's gonna win this argument. Nobody's gonna win this argument.
This is real talk. This ain't no argument. This is real talk.
Because if you want to say that LeBron helped destroy it on his way out, Kyrie did too. You know what I'm saying? He's culpable.
No, he didn't. He didn't. You know why? You know why he didn't? Because he got traded. He got traded. He didn't just bounce. He didn't hold the team hostage and didn't allow them to get something for it. It ain't his fault. They traded him to Boston for Isaiah 2 foot.
The whole thing for all he had to do was sit there and be.
Listen, that's still LeBron. That's LeBron looking for Chris Paul to come in here and they're not talking about the shit. That's LeBron. So don't tell me that no, hell no. If you give LeBron the trophy, just specifically, a statue specifically based on he broke the curse. He ain't break that jump by himself.
Well, also him being the greatest Cavalier of all time.
He's the greatest Cavalier of all time. Now, if you have said he's the greatest Cavalier of all time, I would have less to say because Kyrie's not the greatest Cavalier. I don't even know that Kyrie's the second greatest Cavalier when it comes to being a Cavalier. You said because he broke the curse. That's nonsensical, just like your Jim Thome crap you just brought up.
No, because he had to come back to Cleveland to even do that.
He came back to Cleveland for him, not for us.
That's true.
Legacy. It wasn't about
that's true.
It wasn't about
you get no argument for me.
Us
all right. So here's my final argument for his statue based on him being the greatest Cavalier of all time, and on top of that, helping bring a championship here, he should get a statue. Now is that better?
He is the greatest Cavalier. Like I said, he deserves to have
because every franchise.
He deserves to have his jersey in the rafters.
And really, I don't even think Kyrie should have his number retired.
I don't think he's gonna get it. I don't think so. because he really wasn't here
that
for a
long.
long
Yeah,
time. And
other people say otherwise, but like people were mad at Colin Sexton for wearing number 2. I'm like, y'all being petty. I don't think that's
I
now.
mean, I wouldn't want him to wear number 2 just as I'm a Kyrie guy, but I mean, in terms, excuse me, in terms of the team that he came to, Kyrie isn't like an all-time Cavalier great.
Right.
Now when you talk about one of the more talented Cavs, there ain't many more talented Cavs than Kyrie. I'll tell
That's
you that
true,
right now.
and I appreciate
But that
everything
ain't
that Kyrie Irving
what
did when
we
he was
talking
here.
about. That's
I
not
don't
the
want to come
discussion.
off as being a Kyrie hater or anything, because I'm not.
Oh no, I don't think you're a Kyrie.
I just hate the way that whole thing just
But if you hate
ended.
the way that played out, you gotta hate what LeBron's part of that shit was too.
Of
And that's what
course,
really pissed me off. It's like, dude,
and we've talked about that off air. Of course, you know where I stand with that. I hate the Cavaliers should have gotten at least, at the very minimum, 2 world championships out
oh,
of
we should
that
have
run.
won back to back if you ask me.
And the fact that we only got one, and that still goes to show how Cleveland is still cursed. Even with winning the championship, we should have had more in circumstances, injuries
Well,
at the wrong time, Golden
I'll tell you
State
what,
getting Kevin Durant, stuff like that kind of derailed that whole thing. We should have had at least 2, and probably could have had 3.
probably.
If everything broke certain way, but that's what it should have, could have. We
I
got
tell
the
you
one.
what,
So
if Kyrie better be lucky, I wasn't a damn general manager because his ass would have still been a Cav. I ain't trading you. I don't give a damn what
I wouldn't
you're
trade
talking
you with
about.
a right. What you gonna do? Not play?
Yeah, and listen,
And they said that he was
we've seen
threatening
cats set out
to
for
get
1 year.
emergency surgery or something like that. I was like, go ahead and
Listen,
get your
go right
surgery.
ahead. He was still under contract for 2 years. So guess
Yep.
what? No player has ever done. Sit out for 2 years.
Mhm.
Now you might come back and be disgruntled. You might come back and be pissy or whatever. You can come back and do all that, but you're gonna be the
Who's
most
the only
miserable
player to
person.
sit out? I think Le'Veon Bell is the only guy to sit out and void his contract. You see where I got him. Now he did get paid, but his
He got
career's
paid,
pretty much
but
over. He hasn't recovered physically.
no, he hasn't at all. And that's what I mean. Like that dude wouldn't have sat out for 2 years because he would have been trying to get out of here. And your value is actually more on the court than it is sitting at home talking about,
Exactly.
I'm pissed off. You look like a retard at that point. So you got to come back. You
Right.
end up having to play. He would have been mad as hell at me. I wouldn't have traded him if I was a general manager. But that's an alternate universe, not this one.
Yep. All right. So you guys got some in-depth Cavaliers talk. So we look forward to the season.
We made it exciting too. It wasn't even
Right,
just
exactly.
regular boring
Made it
Cavs.
spicy. All right. So moving on. So we want to go ahead and review our picks from
Oh, wait, before we do the picks, you know me, I gotta switch hats.
Oh, the Indians.
We gotta give real quick, we gotta give some love to my guy Justin Bieber. I knew I was gonna do it. I knew I was gonna do that. I knew I was gonna do it. Sorry. My apologies. I'm talking about Shane Bieber, the Indians ace. He won the Cy Young Award today in a unanimous steamrolling of the voting for the award. I don't know if he would have been judged unanimously if it had been a full season. I'm sure somebody would have voted for a couple, because you always had those periods of the season where you kind of fall off a little bit. But you still got to tip your cap to the dude. He was first in his record was first in the American League, 8-1. His ERA was like 163-ish, which was first in major league, period. And then his strikeouts was number 1 as well, 122 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, there was times when he was a freaking witch. He was electric at times. He was
for the samples of the season. I think he set some records or made his.
Yeah, he was very dominant.
But here's the thing, though. I'm not tipping my hat to Shane Bieber right now for winning the Cy Young.
I already know why. I already know why.
No, it's a couple of reasons.
Well,
Every
I know
time
at
we
least
have a
one.
pitcher, every time we've had a pitcher win the Cy Young, nor an early exit from the playoffs. And once again, that's true. And I'm tired of it. Screw the award. I'd rather for him
But that ain't
to
his
have
fault.
not won the Cy Young and we won the World Series. You know
Nah,
what? So
I won't
all
argue
these,
with that.
you know what I'm saying? All these
I won't
awards and
argue with that one.
accolades, these guys never show up in the playoffs. Never. Our
And that's
superstars never show up in the playoffs, man. So now, no,
yeah.
it's an accomplishment, and this is gonna sound like, and there's nothing personal towards Shane Bieber. Like I'm tired. Like who else got an award? All these guys got awards. Like J Ram got a Silver Slugger. Who else got something? Gonzalez got a whoever that damn second baseman is. He got a Gold
our
Glove.
catcher won a Gold Glove.
Right.
Then we got a team Gold Glove. The whole team defensively. The team defensive percentage was
okay. Yeah. All these damn postseason awards. And here's another thing too. Here's another gripe. This is why baseball, nobody really watches baseball anymore. The season ended like 2 months ago. And they got to stretch all these awards out to try to stay in the news and stay relevant. Just put the damn awards out the day after the season. There's no excuse for just not having a Cy Young.
Is that how they normally do that?
Yeah, they've been doing this. Baseball's been doing this for years.
Really?
Because they're so arrogant, and they're the oldest sport, the oldest organized sport in the country. So they have to stay. They want to stay relevant, and they stretch out these awards for God knows who long. I forgot. I mean, the World Series was what that was. Man, that was like a month ago, and they're just now getting around to the site. That's ridiculous.
Well,
You knew that Shane Bieber was going to win before the World Series started.
Look, they just put out the list for who was
the manager,
like the finalists and all that stuff like a week or two ago. So right. You know, like when they made those announcements, like yo, you know, so and so is a finalist for the MVP or for the Cy Young and everything like that. I was like, I thought it was weird. I mean, I posted it anyway, but I'm like, damn, why is this taking so long? But now I was like, oh, I kind of excused it because of COVID.
No, this is what they do.
I'm really like I don't know why I felt things happen slightly differently. Man, that's crazy that they wait so long to make that announcement for something as big as that.
Like that's baseball crazy. Needs a marketing overhaul, and they've tried. They even brought the Migos in to do some commercials and stuff like that, but it wasn't. They didn't do that right.
It's the same as what we were just talking about in terms of organizations. When you allow the top of your organizations to be, you know, one way, everything after that is only going to be able to be a certain kind of way. So if the top is this old stoic, everything needs to be, you know, covered in the whitest of white sheets, and you know everybody needs to have on these gloves, and you know it's all tradition, and you don't allow it to become something else. Because when have we had a general manager of, I mean, not a general manager, you know, a president of baseball not be a 75-year-old white man?
Exactly. They definitely need a commissioner of youth and energy. They need a marketing overhaul.
And that's it. When you're the commissioner, hell, let's go back to Bud Selig. When you're the commissioner and the owner,
right?
That's a conflict of interest, homeboy.
Who did he own? The Brewers?
Huh? He owned the Brewers.
Yeah.
And so you can't do both. But his ideology, the reason that he ended up doing, I know it was on a temporary basis when he first did it. But you mean to tell me you don't think this dude picking up the phone telling them what to do as he's the commissioner?
Exactly.
You know he is, and you know they're still doing it. So these old white traditionalist guys that become, I mean, hell, this is literally like baseball is literally like being the president of the United States in the beginning and during the Civil War and Revolutionary War. It's just an old, rich white dude who's just making these old, rich white dude decisions. They're not thinking about how to make this game, you know, transfer. Like now, you did have an old white rich guy that was running the NBA before Adam Silver. What's his name? I can see it. David Stern. But he wasn't old when he first got the job.
But David Stern was also smart when he brought in guys that knew how to market.
That's what I mean. But you know what? He was. Now we remember him in terms. Most people will remember him as the old, you know, gray-haired guy. When David Stern took that job, he was in his 40s. That's not an old dude.
Right.
These guys are getting the job in their 60s, and you know you're gonna make an old guy decision in your 60s and 70s. That's just what's gonna happen. So you need to get some fresher, and if you're not gonna get fresher, you need to get some progressive thinking.
I bet you when the owners have meetings, they probably still fruit cocktail is the first course at their banquets. You remember that back in the day? You had these little banquet. The first thing they bring out,
yes.
With that fake cherry in the middle.
Yep. And they eat it out the little cup.
Right.
The little spoons and shit. Listen, you have to, at some point, you have to at least kind of break that tradition to do something different. It's like, you know, when you go, listen, the Masters, which is going on this week, that has a hell of a lot of tradition. The Masters has a hell of a lot of tradition. One of the reasons that the Masters started losing viewership is because they wasn't doing nothing new. Tiger Woods saved that damn place in terms of viewership.
Right.
Tiger Woods
saved golf, period.
He saved golf, period. Because again, it became an old, rich white dude game. It wasn't a fun game for a bunch of new people. But if there was no Tiger, there wouldn't be a Justin Day today. Tiger influenced all these younger guys to come into the game and make the game as exciting or close to as exciting. I don't think you could ever reproduce what Tiger was doing for the game. But he allowed these young guys to think to themselves, I need to get myself in shape. I need to be more athletic. Right. And I can still be a really good golfer. Because back in the day, Jack Nicklaus wasn't athletic. He's the greatest golfer ever, but he wasn't athletic. Arnold Palmer wasn't athletic. They were just guys that could play golf. Tiger changed the whole dynamic of what golf was. So he went to that old traditional spot. Same thing with Venus and Serena. They went to this old traditional place and removed all that old traditional thinking to make it a more exciting thing. And we're still waiting.
You know what? And they did it without disrespecting that. They did it
without disrespecting the tradition that was. And we're still waiting for baseball. We had this discussion the whole damn time we've had this show. Why in the hell ain't Mookie Betts on every baseball commercial that y'all have?
Right.
Why isn't Mike Trout on every freaking commercial that you have?
Another overrated ball player, but that's another story for a different day.
The dude got 3-4 not world championships, but he got 3-4 MVPs. I can't never argue with a dude with 3-4 MVPs.
I keep hearing Mike Trout this or Mike Trout that, but
listen, if he's that guy, here's what I'm saying. You looking at it like he's overrated. Maybe he is. Here's what I'm saying. If this guy's your 3 to 4 time MVP,
you're right. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Put that dude on the front of everything you got. Because there's kids at home who want to be Mike Trout. I just saw the best video I ever seen in my life the other day. Freddie Freeman was taking his kids out trick-or-treating, and there was a kid walking across the street who was dressed up as Freddie Freeman. If I'm Major League Baseball, I'm calling Freddie Freeman and saying, we need you to do a commercial. You have to learn how to market your people and how to put your people out there. This game is a boring game.
And you know what else I didn't know
You
either?
gotta make it exciting.
You know what? I didn't know that sports leagues would lobby to get their guys like on late night talk shows too. So like when you see a Kevin Durant or Tom Brady on Conan and one of those late night talk shows, oh, that's because the NBA and the NFL,
The league did it, not the team.
yeah, and it gets them more, the player exposure, as far as personality wise, as well as
But that
the
makes
league.
sense.
I don't ever see any baseball. The only baseball players I think recently you may have seen on something like that was probably like Big Papi,
Yeah. Jeter.
Roger Clemens, those guys. But that era is kind of gone now. But you got a whole new crop
Yeah,
of
because those guys are on
young
TV. Those guys are
ball
running
players
teams
who America
now.
doesn't know.
Yeah, like right now, you have guys that could be, like I say, Bryce Harper is probably the only person that I can think of off the top of my head, baseball player.
It's kind of a household name. Yeah.
And the crazier part is, I'll guarantee you, when those commercials come on, people don't know who the hell he is.
No.
It's a lot of people who don't know who the hell he is. So he needs to me, they need to do better at even advertising the people that are even marketable.
Yep.
I mean, and Bryce Harper's a good-looking kid. He's a young kid. He's a talented kid. So, yeah, that's a great guy. But you also you got 12 of those right now. They all 12 should be doing some stuff. The NBA was doing that. You had Isaiah, Magic, Bird, Dr. J, all in a commercial, in the same commercial. In the same commercial. You need to do the same thing, Major League Baseball. I don't know that we can harp on it. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to stop giving you assholes tips on how to run your league because y'all going to make a lot of money off of it and I ain't going to get nothing. So y'all just keep doing whatever y'all doing until y'all ready for me to come and do some consulting work.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, man. So, so we'll give a congratulations to Shane Bieber.
He's got to give congratulations. I understand. He stunk in the postseason, but I'll give him some congratulations.
It's not just about him. It's just the history of the Indians. Every time we get all these accolades and awards, these dudes never step up in the playoffs.
Think about this. Think about this. You want to hear something even crazier that goes right along with what you just said? Trevor Bauer won the Cy Young in the National League. So there you go again.
Did he?
Yep. So there you go again.
Wow.
So you got another group of guys that were on the same team that keep winning Cy Young after Cy Young after Cy Young. It's like Cliff Lee. It's like what's his fat name? CT. It's like all of those guys, man. They win. They don't win nothing for us, but they win. The Klubot, they win, but they don't win nothing for us.
That's a testament to the Indians farm system.
It does. It is.
Turn out pitchers like nobody's business. Now we need to focus on getting some hitters, man. We need some sticks.
I would like to go back to the 90s where we had guys in that farm system that were monsters, where you could just bring up Manny Ramirez and just bring up Jim Thome and just bring up, Kenny Lofton. Like, all them cats was in your system already? Damn.
Yeah. Some of those were through trades, but when they got here,
they went through trades, but they got here and was down in the farm system.
Right.
Those were guys that paid attention to the prospects, put them in our system. Their talent was already there probably, but they did a really good job of developing whatever talent they needed to get them on a major league level. And that worked out for us damn near a decade during the 90s. So, yeah, we just wanted to shout out Shane Bieber real quick. Shane, I need you to get better in the postseason, though, homie. I like to see you win the postseason MVP as opposed to the regular season stuff. That's just being real. That's my take. How about that? I just said
Yes,
it a
sir.
lot nicer than Sean did. Because Sean is such an asshole.
Whatever. All right. NFL picks. We picked 5 games. I think right now I'm at 12-12 on the season.
I was.
I think you're what? You're
13 and
13-11.
11.
Yeah, you're
13 and
13 and
11.
11. All right. So we had the Packers and the Niners. I picked Green Bay. Green Bay dismantled San Francisco.
I'm trying to. Now I know I wrote all this down. Oh, here they are. Yeah, you picked the Packers. I picked the Packers as well. I saw that being the way.
All right. But the next game was Houston and Jacksonville. I went with the Texans. What did
So
you
did
pick?
I picked
All
the
right.
Houston as well. Houston
Dolphins and Arizona. I went with Arizona, and then Tua showed his behind.
Yeah, I went
And
with Arizona too.
Dolphins won that game. The Pats and the Jets. This one I was worried about for a while, man, because it looked like the Jets were going to win that game in typical Jets fashion. They found a way to lose that game. A typical come from ahead debacle.
Yeah, they
by the by the New York Jets.
Snatched the win out of the jaws of defeat.
Right. No, snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Snatched defeat rather out of the jaws of victory, man.
Right. So the Pats got that. I did pick the Pats. Pats got that one. And then the Saints. Saints in Tampa. Nobody saw this coming. Saints jumped all over Tampa Bay early.
Well, I ain't see the jump on. I picked the Saints.
They beat the hell out of Tampa Bay. I mean, it was like 21-0 like in the first quarter, wasn't it? And they were just downhill after that.
They were just moving the ball up and down the field. Yeah, you picked.
So I went 3-2. So that takes me to 15-14 on the season.
And I went 4-1, which gives me a 2-game lead at 17-13. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So let us move into this particular week to make our NFL Week 10 football picks. So I think I'm going to go with the 6-2 Seahawks, who are visiting the Los Angeles Rams in those treacherous outfits that they wear every Sunday.
And you have to write these down for me, man, because I don't have an ink pen in sight.
I got you.
So, all right, so we're going with Seattle and the Rams first. Where's the game at?
It's in LA.
Ooh-wee. That's a tough one, man, because Seattle has the worst defense. Their defense is worse than ours. So
they keep I can't understand how they keep figuring out ways to win, though. Because you're right.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
2 words. So I'm gonna go. They had a tough loss against Buffalo. I'm gonna go Seahawks.
All right. I was thinking Seahawks myself. I think I'm gonna tell you something, man. The Rams, I'm not like super enamored with them right this second. Like I know that they're supposed to be this really, 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 really high powered, really, 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 really good team. And they're just kind of a regular team. Like, especially when they play against teams that are as good as them or better. They haven't, not to my recollection, haven't played a game that I felt like, okay. When I've seen them play really, really good, it was against a team that they should have beat the hell out of anyway.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks as well in that game. So our next seems like we always have this team on the docket. We're gonna go with the Bills, the 7-2 Bills, who are taking a trip out to Scottsdale to the Arizona Cardinals, who are 5-3.
Arizona. I'm going Arizona that game. I still don't trust Buffalo. Buffalo does this every year. They start off hot. At some point, they normally come back down to earth, sneak into the playoffs, and get their ass beat. Now, eventually that may change. But I think it's time for them to start coming back down to earth. And Arizona is not an easy place to go win right now with the way that the Cardinals are playing. They're playing pretty good football. You know, they lost to the Dolphins last week. So I'm going to go Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals in this one.
All right. I actually agree with your assessment of the Bills. I think most times these guys are not bad, but they're just kind of okay. They've played really good in the games that I've seen. Pieces.
Yes, they have.
Games that I've seen.
Offensively, they've played really well this year.
Offensively, you can see them turning a corner that you kind of thought they could turn, but you were wondering if they would turn. You know what I mean? So, I think they've done that. I think they've made that happen. So, I'm going to actually go with the Bills in this game.
Okay.
All right. And our next game, this one is a Thursday nighter. We got the Colts at 5-3 going into Nashville to play the Nashville Tennessee Titans. Oilers.
Tennessee. Phillip Rivers has been downright awful. The past couple of weeks, the only thing keeping them in the games has been their defense. And the Titans have lost. No, they won last week, didn't they? I think Tennessee won last week. So I'm going Tennessee. I don't really think Indianapolis is for real. You know, people were praising them early because their defense was playing, but Phillip Rivers' age is showing. And I think Tennessee is hungry. The pivotal game is a divisional game for them too. So I'm going with Ryan Tannehill and the formidable Tennessee Titans in this one.
I can't even believe that I'm picking Ryan Tannehill's team to win any damn thing. But I think I'm leaning more towards Phil just not playing that well. He's making the Chargers look smart as shit. I'll tell you that right now. For not re-signing him and not just keeping him around for the sake of him being the guy who has been the guy for forever. He is definitely looking his age. He's definitely looking. I mean, he's always turned the ball over a lot. So I don't know if you look at it and say, oh, he's turning the ball over more. I don't know that he's turning the ball over more, but I think you see certain holes that you didn't see. I think you see certain passes that he used to be able to make that he doesn't make the exact same way. He's looking tired towards the end of games. So I'm gonna go with the Titans as well in that game.
All right.
Eventually I'll get that together. The next game is a Monday nighter. It's the Vikings at 3-5 divisional game versus the Bears, at Soldier Field. The Bears are 5-4.
I'm going Bears reluctantly. Now, Dalvin Cook has been playing out of his mind the last 2 games. I think he's had almost 2. I know he had 200 yards last week. And I think he might have had close to 200 yards the week beforehand too.
Touchdowns.
He's been going crazy. Now, the one thing that the Bears do well is play defense. As pathetic as Nick Foles has been these past couple of weeks, their defense has been keeping them in games. Minnesota normally does not play well on the road. This is their history. They don't play well on the road. And I think if you key on Dalvin Cook and you force, Kirk Cousins to win the game for them, that's normally the recipe for success for the other team. So as long, barring, Nick Foles turning the ball over and being completely inept, I think that the Bears will take this one.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. I mean, this dude had 4 touchdowns, seemed like in the first 20 minutes of that game the other day.
Exactly. Right.
Every time I looked at the TV, he was scoring. Like, I know that's usually some level of an anomaly that doesn't happen every single solitary week. But when it does happen, you gotta at least acknowledge it. And Dalvin Cook is one of those guys. He's a guy that can play. He's not a bad player. I think he's in a solid offense, but he's their only guy, and not their only guy, but he's their main guy. The Bears do have a really good defense. The Bears are going to key in on him. The Bears are going to make sure that he doesn't. I don't think he's going to do what he did last week. I'll tell you that. He may have a decent game, but he ain't going to do what he did last week.
Running free like that.
The Bears haven't really given up. I don't think they've given up 100 yards to a guy yet this year on the ground. It's a night game in Chicago. Could be a little windy. Could be a little weathery. And it might actually be a nice night, but that wind still, that's another wind tunnel. Soldier Field is.
Right.
I guess I'm gonna go Bears, man. I was on the fence about this one, but I think I'm gonna go Bears because I just don't see. I'm just not that sold on Kirk Cousins. There's something about Kirk Cousins, bro. And now I know I'm talking about Nick Foles too, but Kirk Cousins, with that defense too, with the Bears defense too, I think outside in a night game, Soldier Field, I'm gonna go Bears.
Right. All right.
And of
so
course,
this brings us to the Cleveland Browns versus the Houston Texans. Once again, the Browns are a 3-point favorite. I'm gonna go home team. I'm gonna go home team, and I'm looking at a score of around. Even though we can't stop anybody, I think we're gonna call a couple of turnovers. I'm looking at something like a 23-17, 24-17 type of ball game. Which means, now that I've said that, I mean the game will be damn near in the 30s. But I'm going Browns 24, the Houston Texans 17.
All right. I don't know what the line is going to open up as on Sunday, but I'm basically gonna guess it. The Browns aren't going to cover the spread because I think I have us 28-24.
Okay.
Again, the Texans defense is decent, but I'm expecting to see us play a lot more energized. If Nick Chubb plays and hits those holes and breaks off a 15, 20-something, it's something about a Nick Chubb run that
energizes the whole team.
The whole team.
Yep.
It changes, how they're moving and what they're thinking about doing and where they're thinking about going next. You know what I mean? And so I'm expecting to see some of those things. Hopefully, Nick doesn't have a setback over the next 2 days, and he'll play.
Yeah, positive energy, man. No more. I mean, we've been.
Oh,
Well, you know what?
well,
The Browns haven't been hit as hard as a lot of teams,
they have
injury
not.
wise,
I'm happy
but we
about
don't need
that.
any more. We don't need
So
any
I'm
more.
hoping for Nick Chubb. I'm actually hoping for Wyatt Teller to be back on Sunday.
I think he's supposed to be back too. I think he's
You
ready
know,
to go.
I think he
But that should be confirmed.
on Friday. Friday practice is
Yeah,
always,
Friday.
but he
Right.
practiced today. He was limited, but he was limited in practice 2 weeks ago. So
Okay.
Teller was. Hell, the whole offensive line was limited in practice today.
Right.
all of them some bitches was hurt. But you know, they offensive linemen, they get dinged up a lot. It's a lot of contact
Especially
involved.
this time of year, everybody's playing with some type of
Yeah.
nick.
You halfway through the season now. Them dings that don't go away till the end of the season. It's over with.
Right. Remember
So,
earlier how I was talking about how they don't show any afternoon games, but don't show that many. And this Sunday they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 6 4 o'clock games.
yeah, they like, hey, look, you ain't even know it. They was like, shut up, Sean.
Right.
Here you go.
And 1 o'clock games, you only have 4 1 o'clock games this week.
Really?
So yeah, only 4.
No wonder, you know, and that makes no wonder whenever I'm out of town, I'm having a hard time trying to find Browns games. Because if you're only showing 4 or 5 games, they end up showing whatever is regional in that area.
Yeah,
So
but that's what they do. Yeah, they show either
so
regional or you may catch the national game, depending.
yeah, if it's a real big game, whatever that game might be. And that would piss me off too. Like sometimes I'd be out of town and the national game is like 1-8-0 team versus 1-7-1 team. And that ain't the game they showing in this particular region. I used to be like,
Right.
are you
And sometimes
the Browns don't play till 4, so I gotta watch that other game and that ain't the game that they showing? Oh my gosh.
right. And sometimes they don't even do regional. It makes no rhyme or reason. Like it's time that they'll just randomly throw on like Buffalo and Miami.
Yeah.
When it's like Seattle and the Rams playing or something like that. You want to see that game. You got
or we
stuff
need or the Steelers are playing and I need to watch this game because the Browns playoff chances are hinged on this Steeler game.
Right.
And y'all show me the Jags and the Texans.
I think they do that on purpose to make people buy the Sunday ticket. You're like, you know what? We just gonna mess with y'all this week and throw the most awful game we possibly can.
Bingo. That's exactly
TV.
what the hell they be doing, trying to make you invest more money. Like, man, if you're a season ticket holder and you have the damn TV ticket too, bro, you made out of money. You gotta be. You gotta be.
Exactly.
I mean, and not that the season tickets they're not super expensive, but I guess it would depend on where you are, because I hear that the Patriots tickets are stupid.
Oh yeah, like the Browns are the cheapest tickets in the league.
Yeah,
right
as
now.
they should.
Still do. As they should.
As they should.
All right, man, do you have anything else you want to touch on today?
Well, I don't have anything else sports related to talk on, but I feel like we are gaining some ground in our new industry, in this media industry. I also feel like we are becoming slowly but surely we're becoming a part of. I won't say we're becoming we are becoming a part of the voice of the 216 area, Cleveland. So I would like to say thank you to you for joining me every week to do this show. I know that you could be doing anything, you could be doing whatever the hell you want, but for whatever reason you decide you're gonna sit down.
No, this is fun, man. I enjoy doing this. We're doing something that we love to do anyway.
Yeah.
So why not share it with others?
So yeah, man, I'm like super proud of where we've come, and I'm just saying that on the air because I want people to know that it means a lot to me yeah, this is what we normally do, but we're not the type of people to voice our opinions like this openly. We could just as easily just have a phone call between two of us,
Right.
but we're doing it, and it means a lot that you guys are listening, that you guys are following, and I'm actually taking like a real good taking uh, to trying to be the voice of Cleveland. So, saying all of that, I think what I'm going to do is start locally supporting some of the local stuff that we have around here um, as we go forward. I think that'd be something good to help
Oh,
the
yeah,
local
that's an
help
excellent
the
idea.
local economy, um,
Excellent idea.
to give our local economy a boost, especially since it sounds like we're going back on punishment sometime soon if you listen to the governor today. So we
Right.
probably need any and all boosts that we can give to our local areas, our local businesses, to try to keep, some level of functionality in what we do. And it just continues to show how much we care, appreciate, and want to support our city. So, what do you think about that?
I think that's an excellent idea. We can get some shout outs to, maybe like some local eateries,
Yep.
um, just
Small
anybody that's
businesses, and we know
small
people with the
businesses,
small
period.
businesses
People
and
out
stuff
here
like
working
that.
hard.
You
Yeah, so
know,
we
and
can
we do
we
that.
can do that.
We do have some commercials on our show. If you listen to the audio stream, and those are a couple of small businesses, but we know people with other businesses as well. So we would like to try to get you guys some exposure if we can. It may only go out to about 10 people,
Right.
but that's
That's all
potentially
right.
10 more people than you did that you didn't have.
Exactly.
So, we just want to continue to expand what we do, and we also want to try to expand what other folks do, and to show you guys that we are truly, truly, truly 1,000% about Cleveland and about our community. So that's it.
I like that, man. I like that idea.
All right,
Anything
bet.
to help out. A lot of people out here working hard, especially with everything that was going on during the lockdown. A lot of people trying to be more so entrepreneurial nowadays,
Right,
have multiple streams of
right.
income. And take it from me, I'm a small business owner myself, and it's one of the hardest endeavors to take on. Not just the physical part, but the mental part, having the
Yeah,
confidence in yourself to
yeah,
put yourself out there. So anyone that's actually out there trying, to do that, I actually try to, lately I've been going out my way to try to support people in any form of fashion. And I know I'm definitely to do more, but I try to give people shout outs on, Instagram and using our platform. I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up, man, because I didn't even think about that. That's definitely something
yeah,
that'd be really, really, really good for the community. So
yeah. I just think it's something that, I mean, you have your business. My wife has a business. I run a couple businesses. I know a ton of people that also do business. So, and then there's those businesses that we don't know anything about, but they are local and they're within our community. So we need to try to support them, to try to, uphold everything that we're doing right now. And I think that'll be good for them. And of course, it could have a residual effect on us. But bigger than that, I just want to make sure that Cleveland understands that when I say two guys in the mic 216, and y'all see Sean on here with his Browns hat every week, and you see me with the Browns logo and the Cavs shirt on and the Indians hat, it ain't fake. It ain't fake at all. It's real. It's from the heart. I'm a Clevelander everywhere I've ever been, everywhere I've ever lived. This is how I'll show up like this, and I don't care what nobody getting ready to say.
same here.
So, and being in Cleveland, we got to support what's happening here. Regardless of politics, regardless of race, all that stuff. Hey, we can all help each other, and that's where you start to heal, and that's where you start to build that sense of community. Regardless, that's real diversity, and that's real community building. Where it doesn't matter, you just want to see your next man do well. So that's where I'm
Exactly.
at.
Well said, bro. Well said.
That's where I'm at, and that's what I want to try to implement into the show at some point. Other than that, man, again, happy Veterans Day to all my veterans out there. It's great being back in the saddle. I'm looking forward to football Sunday. Hopefully the Browns can pull this win out.
Yeah. So we will definitely be back on Sunday, Sunday evening. Hopefully, like RP said, after a Browns victory. And so I think if we get this one and move to 6-3, I think that'll be the catalyst for us to make a playoff push. And then with all this COVID stuff going on, we need to rack up as many victories as we can. The NFL did implement that new playoff structure.
I saw that. So we need to get our asses in gear to make sure we're in one of them 8 spots, to separate ourselves from those other guys so that we can get one of them spots. So yeah, that's it for us here on Two Guys and a Mic. I just want to shout out a couple pages for you guys to come check out. Come check out our Instagram page. Like it, like our Facebook page, support it. Two Guys and a Mic 216 for both of those pages. Come click on the link tree. Our link tree will get you all of our audio as well as our YouTube page, which is Two Guys and a Mic 216. And the audio that is streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, and on Anchor Podcasts as well. So go check us out. Come check us out. Come like us. Come support us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. All that. I guarantee you'll like it. You may not like it at first, but if you keep coming back, you're going to like something that we're doing, and it's going to keep you coming back. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you, Sean. Good night, man. I'll see you on Sunday.
All right, good night. Love you, bro.
Be
See you
careful,
on
man.
Sunday.
Love you too, dog. Peace.